After the Korean War, the chief mission of the Air Force Medical Service was maintaining readiness in the face of the military threat posed by the Soviet Union and its allies. Spurred on by the threat of communist expansion in Southeast Asia, in the mid-1950s, the U.S. began providing military aid and advisors in South Vietnam. In 1965, President Johnson, fearing the collapse of the South Vietnamese forces, authorized the dispatch of 100,000 American troops, escalating the conflict to the point of war. The nature of combat in Vietnam created unique challenges for medics. Blurry front lines, treacherous terrain, and unsanitary conditions made it difficult to treat patients in the field. The first medic deployments operated out of tents until mid-1966, when the medical service procured modular steel boxes to serve as field medical units. Even after these developments, acute patients still needed to be evacuated long distances for proper medical care. Airmen medics increasingly moved from the front line to the rear guard, as they took the lead helming these aeromedical evacuation flights. Eventually, the Department of Defense developed a joint protocol to balance the service's capabilities. Army helicopters picked up most casualties from the battlefield, while Pacific Air Forces operated scheduled in-country aeromedical services and transoceanic jet services to Clark Air Force Base in the Philippines and Yokota and Tachikawa air bases in Japan. The need for so many long-haul aeromedical evacuations spurred rapid innovation. Prior to 1965, the Air Force flew patients in C-118s, C-130s, and C-124s. But these planes were far too small to handle the sheer number of evacuations. C-141 Starlifters proved a winning alternative, as they could be outfitted to carry over 100 patients and could fly over 13 hours from the Philippines to the west coast of the U.S. with only one stop. In August of 1968, the Air Force debuted its first specially designed aeromedical evacuation aircraft, the C-9A Nightingale. Dubbed the Cadillac of Medevac, the C-9A was designed to function as a flying hospital complete with hydraulic folding ramps, specialized care areas, and electronic systems capable of handling advanced life support systems. The C-9A wouldn't debut in Vietnam until 1972, but its superior facilities would be in high demand in the final phase of the war. In 1969, President Nixon began withdrawing U.S. troops from Vietnam. By 1972, most U.S. troops had departed, but major issues remained. Namely, how to evacuate hundreds of American POWs and hundreds of thousands of Allied Vietnamese. A decade's worth of innovation and dedication would get these enormous efforts off the ground. On January 27, 1973, the U.S. signed the Paris Peace Accords with representatives from North Vietnam. The agreement provided for the complete withdrawal of U.S. troops in Vietnam, while calling for the release of 591 U.S. prisoners. Numerous C-9As and C-141s were standing by, ready to bring these troops home. The POWs, many of whom were injured and ill, were then treated at Clark Air Force Base in the Philippines before being sent to military hospitals across the U.S. to be embraced by their grateful families and a grateful nation. These flights would serve as something of a trial run for extensive evacuation flights after war's end. The Air Force Medical Service would play an instrumental role in Operation Baby Lift, a series of 30 flights in 1975, which transported more than 2,500 orphans from South Vietnam, and provided vital assistance during airlifts for Operations Frequent Wind and New Life, which brought 130,000 Allied Vietnamese refugees into the United States. Even though at their peak only 1,900 personnel, a mere 5% of the AFMS military personnel worldwide, supported Southeast Asia, they played an outsized role in getting troops and allies home safe. Vietnam foreshadowed future conflicts in the Gulf and Afghanistan, where long-haul transoceanic aeromedical flights manned by AFMS personnel would become a crucial step in the life-saving process. It also foregrounded the need for constant innovation and maximal efficiency in the face of an ever-changing conflict. 50 years after the end of the war, These lessons have been taken to heart, as the Air Force medical professionals of today continue to build upon the techniques of those who came before. Ready for anything, no matter what turns lie ahead.